Today I'm here to share with you how Toyota decided to adopt Spark as our primary compute engine for big data and machine learning. And what I'm going to start off with is really give you a quick background on our history with big data, Toyota. So our first experience with big data started in 2010, where as a response to the 2009 recalls, we went ahead and put together a big data analytics application using a NoSQL-based solution. The project brought together multiple disparate data sources on a unified, scalable platform. The project was actually a great success, and the more and more we went on, we actually started adding additional projects on that platform. Finally, in 2013, we actually went forward with our first customized social media monitoring system that processed data in real time. We followed up the following year adding survey and call center analytics to provide predictive insights. On April 1st, we actually went with our first production version of the Customer 360 Insights platform on the Spark platform. Now, looking back, we'd actually been, wow, it's been, what, a year now since we actually went to the Spark Summit last year. And actually, there we go. If you kind of look at that picture, right, that's where Team Toyota was. And on our side, right, for this trip, we decided that we were going to invite everyone in the organization to be able to really kind of understand what this whole Spark thing was all about. So what we did is we actually had people from R&D, data engineering, infrastructure, and enterprise architecture. You see, at Toyota, we have this idea or this phrase, which is Genchi Genbutsu. And what it means is go look, go see. And that is exactly what we did. Now, I remember leaving the summit thinking, gosh, there's just so many amazing things that we'd learned, and we just couldn't wait to actually try some of it out. We decided to go with Spark because it provided a single unified framework that could be used for compute, streaming, and machine learning. The API was actually significantly easier to use than MapReduce, and we liked that. You see, for the last 6 years, Toyota has been moving towards a very data-driven culture. We have some amazing leaders at our company who've been really pushing innovation. And what we've also been bringing to the table is a lot of new technologies that enable what we call actionable insights. Now, just last year, we put an application into production which processes over 700 million records to help us predict areas of potential concerns and churn within our customer base, and really to be able to provide our business with the ability to take action on those. In production, that job, unfortunately, took 160 hours to complete. That's almost 7 days. And at that point, right, it's a little too late. Now, rewriting that same job using Scala and Spark, the team was able to reduce this job to 4 hours. And this was just amazing, because it really spoke to just the ability to take something that took 7 days, reduce it to make these really actionable insights on demand. And now the question was, could we do the same with some of our social media monitoring on the other side of the platform? So sentiment analysis, right, when you go from a positive, negative, neutral, right, that accuracy is very poor on some of the existing products that's out there today. For instance, in a monthly report monitoring social media opinion, right, for one of our existing products that we use from an unnamed vendor, we got something that kind of looked like this. Now, what does this even mean, right? What value does something like this sitting on a piece of paper, right, provide to any business user? And how can you take action on something like this? Well, our executives felt the same way, and they asked our team to see if we could provide a solution with insights that could be truly actionable. We did an assessment. We looked at Toyota product mentions on Twitter for a month, and the majority of the conversation we found fell into 9 natural categories. 40% retailers selling toward the vehicles. The rest, right, spread out into different categories, but the bottom line is that 50% of this was just noise. And so now, our real big challenge was how can we actually create relevant insights with this massive amount of data and just cut through all of that noise. Machine learning. Now, the first time our executives heard the words machine learning in the context of a business application, this is probably what they thought. And quickly, we had to really kind of put it in more relative terms, and so I had to say, look, you know, everyone in the entire company uses machine learning for document classification. And they said, really? Yeah, your spam filters. And once you make something like that relative, it's a lot easier to sell. And so we went ahead and decided to do an experiment. Time-boxed, we worked with our product quality engineers to be able to create classifications for product quality. We'll focus on brake noise. So tell me, in your own words, how would you describe this issue? Oh. All right. Sorry about that. There we go. So maybe words like howling, moaning, groaning, right? Well, we get a challenge, right? Because something like this, right, doesn't come naturally. And so when we ask people to help us classify documents from social media, right, we weren't able to get a lot of really valuable training data outside of just posts with the words brakes and noise. And so, you know, if it was that easy, right, just write a Boolean query and be done with it. But what we decided to do was really kind of say, hey, there's posts that look like this, right, which would never get caught. You don't even see the word brake or noise in there, right? Or stuff like this. So we had an idea, and the idea was look at some of the data internally that we had that we collected from customers over the years. And so we had millions of verbatim comments from customers answering product quality surveys. And so when you look at it, a product quality survey, they have these check boxes that the customers can check, which is sort of kind of like a label. Then we also have verbatim comments tied to those labels describing the experience in the customer's own words. We went ahead and built out our machine learning pipeline. We started on Spark 0.9 using Scala, built our own chi-square feature selector, our own k-folds cross-validator, and now we're ready to test out and validate our model. The moment of truth, would it work? Sadly, it didn't. We had a 56% accuracy. Subsequent versions, right? Same. And so, really, what we found was a lot of false positives. So posts like this, right, which, you know, looked around preventative maintenance, right, or just completely irrelevant information. So over the weekend, we're combing through articles, and we were hit with a little bit of inspiration. The idea of explicit semantic analysis. There were several papers we had looked at where a team had tried to understand this novel idea of how one could leverage natural concepts extracted from sources like Wikipedia. Interesting concepts, related words. What if we considered a similar approach and even looked at documents internally that Toyota had that could provide us interesting concepts, related words? Ideas started to form. On the left side is our component, brakes. The condition we're looking for is noise, right? Left subject, right predicate. Now, if we continue to leverage this original training data, but process the data as two distinct concepts based on features that are in the instruction manual for brakes, synonyms for noise, and then build concepts such as pads, caliper, wheel, drum, rotor. On the right side, squeak, grind, groan, squeal. And then we leverage the Minkowski distance formula to compute the distance similarity between the two concepts. And the results bumped up to 82%. And we were happy. And you see, at Toyota, there's a Japanese phrase, kaizen, which translates to continuous improvement. Bottom line is that when you're working with a product like Spark, where you're trying to improve the accuracy of the model that you're creating with large unstructured data sets, right? Your ability to produce a highly effective model, right, is now going to be limited if you're using something that is not performant and is not easy to use, right? Train, test, evaluate, repeat. I like to tell people that a product like Spark gives us what I call room to dream, right? The idea that faster compute times means more cycles. More cycles means more time to create, more time to just go out there, try something new, right? To really experiment and continuously improve your model. And having that time really allows you to be able to fill in those gaps. True Kaizen. So today, Spark is used at our Social Media Intelligence Center by our PR and our Customer Experience Group to classify social media in real time. In the future, we feel that Spark will be used to compute big data across all of Toyota data sets for the 40 years of data that we have on our connected vehicles that are coming up, consumer data, manufacturing data. So the team wanted to provide some tips in terms of, some of the experiences we had with Spark. First one, education and inclusion. Bringing together people from all over the organization, I think, is really the key to successfully deploying Spark in a large enterprise like Toyota. Pace yourself, right? Design and plan a transitional architecture to incrementally introduce Spark components into your application, right? You don't have to replace everything in wholesale. We like Joda time. It was great for date comparisons, right? Works great in Scala. Lessons learned. ACA was a big one. So when we're pushing out our code, be mindful of the version that's on your distributed Hadoop version, right, versus what you've actually compiled with. Spark SQL for DSL joins, we saw a 35% improvement on large table joins. Remember to configure memory fraction based on the size of your data. Finally, at Toyota, at the end of the day, it's really our people who help us go places. For more information about opportunities at Toyota, please visit us at the Toyota booth here at the summit. Thank you very much. I wonder if it's time to explore.